शब्द बिना सारा जग अंधा, काटे कौन मोह का फंदा। शब्द बिना सारा जग अंधा, काटे कौन मोह का फंदा। शब्द बिना बिरथा सब तंदा, शब्द बिना बिरथा सब तंदा। शब्द बिना जीव बंधन बंधा, शब्द बिना जीव बंधन बंधा।
Question number 1, the first one. This is with regards to pious living. Does pious living mean that we live under God's will and follow all the precepts that Master requested? Which means to have full faith in Master and to fully pursue the spiritual truth.
Yes, that's correct. Just from our part, we should try to keep all the precepts, keep the precepts like from our action, also in our mind as well. And also, eventually you will be able to purify yourself. And at that time, you will start to witness Master power, that being miracle or coincidences happen around you. Then the faith, the living faith, will start from there. And when you be able to build up the living faith in the Master, that you can see Master fixing problems for you. You can see Master bring better luck into your life. Then eventually your mind will get convinced and you'll be able to live fully in Master will, or so-called God will.
So let's move on to the next question. I think this is a very relatable question. So the questioner asks, we are afraid to create new bad karma, but sometimes we just have to do it. Such as, my job is now to prepare food for a restaurant. So I guess this person is working in a restaurant. So he says that besides mainly dealing with vegetables, I still have a small part of chopping the beef and chicken, and the leftover food must be thrown away. I'm afraid of the bad karmas I made, so I recite the mantra when I do it. Will the mantra help to clear the bad karma, or should I resign immediately?
I would assume that this person is initiate of a perfect living Master, but by the circumstance, still have to work in meat restaurant, right? Where they have to prepare like a normal meal for customer and have to get involved with like chopping, they say beef and chicken, right? And they ask, is that gonna create a bad karma on them? And if at that time they recite the mantra, will it have help like creating the bad consequences of these bad actions? So actually in life, because Master will put us in different character, and when we discover about the truth and we embrace this part of the soul, or San Mat part, Kuan Yin part, which require us to have strict precept, observe strict precept, which is vegan or vegetarian, and not involving with all of these killing or or lying or alcohol selling, right? But if your karma is such, you need to earn a living in order to be a good member of the society, not be a burden on anyone. And your karma is such right now, you have to work in a meat restaurant. If this is part of your past karma, and it's not the new karma that you actually like enjoy shopping or the chicken, enjoy, killing anything, or enjoy being part of this, then the new karma, the new bad karma is not upon you. Whatever happened to this person is the pay of the past karma that right now you have to get involved with the meat industry, with the meat restaurant. So just try to do your duty. And when you're doing this, that's correct, that you can try to recite the mantra. And apart from recite the mantra, you're just begging Master for forgiveness. You're begging Master to help those poor animal souls that has to sacrifice their life to be, to be the meat and selling in this meat industry, in this meat restaurant. So I believe that the more you're doing this, then it will clear up your karma that you have to be in this place and doing such thing that contradict with your moral principle that you adopt after Master give you initiation. So I would suggest that do your duty. The more you sincerely asking Master for blessing, Master for help, then I believe that you may find a better job in the future, better solution, or you can start your own business, doing the vegan restaurant or vegetarian restaurant or selling home cooked recipe, right? So that's always solution. But for now, if your karma, your karmic life have to live this way, just try to do your best. And in your heart, just pray for Master to help you.
Okay. Still in the topic of restaurant, but now as a diner. The next question asks, sometimes we eat in a social setting, and this social setting happens to be in a meat serving restaurant. Can we ask them, as in the restaurant, to prepare a special vegetarian meal? What's the repercussions of this?
Well, you can think of this in a positive way. If normally you eat at home, with vegetarian or vegan food, or you always like went out dining in vegan or vegetarian restaurant, but sometimes because we still have to work, sometimes our co-worker ask us to go to the normal restaurant, like a meat serving restaurant, then yes, you can ask them politely to prepare some vegetarian meal for you. Or you just take the drink, then you maybe, come back home and eat later. You can prepare in many ways. For example, when my mother first started to be vegan, and there's a big fight in the house, disagreement between my father and her, because normally my mother is the one who cooked the food. And then, she has to cook the food, but she cannot taste the food. Then my father become very upset. One time, he challenged her to go to eat outside in meat restaurant with him and his friends. So she said, okay, I can go with you, but one condition. Can you stop by at the vegetarian and vegan restaurant for me, so I can buy like like takeaway. Then if I have my takeaway, then I can sit in a meat restaurant eating with you. Because in Thailand, there's no strict rule that you can't bring outside food to eat in another restaurant. So that's how my mother survives all the social functions. But sometimes, if she needs to go to, for example, to somebody birthday or somebody marriage ceremony, she would eat at home first and only take drink, at the party. So hopefully, this suggestion can help you. And if better, you offer your friends and co-worker to try out, to say like, oh, okay, I have really good healthy restaurant, right? A plant-based food. You want to try out with me? Maybe, you can influence other as well if you educate yourself enough to stand for yourself what is beneficial of having healthy vegan or healthy vegetarian food. Then you can try to convince your co-workers, your friends, to come and try plant-based food with you.
Right. Still on the topic of food, the next question asks, as an initiate, I have to prepare non-vegetarian food to my other family members who are not yet on the path. How will this impact my karma?
Well, as I already mentioned about my mother and my father, right? This happened in my house like 20 years ago, okay? Now my mother, both the whole family already vegan, right? But the suggestion how my mother did at that time is that, yes, she has to like go to the market, right? Has to buy chicken meat, has to buy like pork or shrimp or fish still, right? But at that time, yes, she did it against her heart, her own principle, right? So at that time, while she was doing shopping, coming back home and have to cook, in her heart, she tried to pray to Master, right? Like, oh, I don't want to do this, but I need to perform my duty well. I should not, be upsetting cause of anyone in the family. Because if my father angry and upset that day, we would not be able to eat at all, okay? There's no food for nobody, okay? So my mother has to obey like that. In the past, like she has to cook for my father and just ask politely for my father to taste the food. Then the impact of karma is that because you try to perform your duty, your karmic duty at best, right? Like you don't want to upset anybody's feeling. Then, and also you pray to Master very sincerely. So the karma is not upon you. There's no new karma on you because you try to perform your past karma, and you try to fulfill your duty at this time. But I would say that it's quite a bad karma upon other people, that don't understand and not open their heart to differentiate and make a vegan or vegetarian person cooking in the family. So instead of bad karma will be on the one who cook and the one who bought the food. The karma will be upon the one who requests for that, the one who benefits from this eating. And also because they don't have master protection and they don't have anyone to pray for, to repent their karma. So yes, new karma will be upon the other family member that you need to cook for. My suggestion is that try very best to educate yourself of how good, and how friendly, how healthy vegetarian or vegan food is. And try to talk to your family member that this is a new trend, right? A new way of healthy living. And you trying this to improve yourself. And if other people want to join you, then they're most welcome. You can try little by little cooking good vegan or vegetarian food and ask them to try this food. And one day you might be able to influence them in the family. And the most important thing I want to suggest is that you have to try to be a very good example as a human being can be. If they see that your practice, your good principle has changed you greatly, just like it changed my mother to be a very good, kind, and loving person. Before this, she easily get upset and angry, right, and emotional. But because of this good principle, had changed her to be a better person. Then in a long term, yes, it takes a decade, right? Almost 10 more years for my brother and my father to follow the same principle. But I think it's worthwhile because, only by your good example in long term, then other people can say that, okay, the path of the master and the teaching of the master that you follow actually transform you to be a better person. If they can see that very obviously, then yes, everybody want to change themselves to be better. So I believe that, by you start from you first, doing your own duty, but try to be really good example without preaching other of what you are doing, then the impact in long term is very good, just like what happened in my family.
Okay. This question is I think in relation to the previous one you just answered. Does household life always create karma? And does moral life not create karma?
Well, both life will create karma. Like, like if you live your life badly, it will create bad karmic retribution. If you live your life very good, it also will create good karma for you to take the action or later on. So, without a perfect living master, whether you do a lot of good karma, you won't escape the samsara. You won't escape the cycle of rebirth. So, only that we get initiation from a perfect being, perfect representative that's sent by the highest power, the God, or the totality of consciousness directly, then, that one can give you a proper, permanent salvation. Whether you live a household life or renunciate life, as I said in the Satsang, whether you choose those paths to try to live the best moral life. But if the one factor is lacking, is that you don't have any perfect living master in your life, and you're not disciple of them, then there's no hope. You still create good or bad karma for you to come back for the next and the next lifetime.
As household life is a drama life, I know it's not true, but why do I feel sad, angry, happy, and all kinds of emotion?
Yes, because you still not practice on detachment. You very much attached to your life, to your character, to this drama of life. That's why, whatever happens, you face the full emotion of that. Being sad, angry, upset, happy, all ups and downs and emotion, because you believe that this is real, the drama is real, the pain is real, the happiness is real, the suffering is real. Only when you be able to detach from this life, from this character, then you will feel less effect of this drama of life. It is true, one of my master, Ishwapuriji, he said that we can never truly practice detachment. You cannot say that, okay, I want to detach from my luxury life, right? I want to detach from my jewelry, right? You cannot truly doing that. The more your mind focus on that, the more you thinking about that. Just like he give an example that he loves to have pizza, and the more the master said, okay, I will detach myself from pizza, the more pizza show up in his mind and meditation. And he said it is not working for him. So later on, he found out that only when we attach ourselves to something better, then we be able to do a proper detachment. We'll be able to letting go of whatever we attach ourselves on. So therefore, what happened to Ishwapuriji is that he attached himself to his master love. He attached himself to great master love. So therefore, because he detached, because he attached this, his personality, his being, whatever he liked, he turned inward and he tried to attach himself to higher power. So that higher power pulling him. So he raised above this, all of this attachment, being attached to his character, attached to his emotional life, attached to his friends, brother and sisters, right? So he taught us that when we attach to something better, simply say like when we got something better, then we can let go of something, like lesser or something not that good.
Okay, this is a popular question, very relatable. As a parent, should I insist that my children turn vegetarian, or should I just let them discover on their own?
Right. You should not try to insist or, tell your children what to do, because I think everybody should have freedom to make choices as a human being, right? Because if they be able to make their own choices, they be able to embrace the better practice on their own for long term. If you force your own belief upon anyone, yes, you can do they can do in front of you. And maybe, outside when they are with their friends, they are at school, they might not be vegetarian or vegan because they don't have better understanding. But my suggestion is that you can try to educate your own children. You can try to give out a little information here and there to educate them that plant-based food and is a new trend of healthy food, and vegetarian and vegan is really good for the physical body, it's really good for the mind as well, and it's really good for their own developing when they're growing up. So you can try to convince them, on all the good quality of this vegetarian or vegan food. And then, just let them think about that and just let them learn in their own time to take interest to turn vegan or vegetarian.
Does the renunciation of oneself means that person has to leave the family? Is this the final true spiritual pursuit, which is like to live in renunciation?
People have very misconception about renunciation because in Buddhism, there is very famous story of the Buddha that he leave his family, he leave his crown prince position to be renunciated, to be a monk, right? And because this way, people try to practice detachment to renunciation and hoping that they will find the truth like the Buddha. But actually, if you look into the Buddha story, if he has a perfect living master during that time for him to go to seek the truth, he won't take the renunciation route. He won't leave his family. If he has the truth available to him in the palace, or he can invite a perfect living master to give discourse. So therefore, even you renounce the whole world, leave your family, live in a cave, and practice detachment, it won't work. Because you're trying to use your mind to detach your mind from something. So when you use your mind to overcome the mind, it won't work. In order to win the mind, you need higher power than your mind to pull you away from all attachment. And that higher power is divine love. And the divine love can only be received by direct contact of a perfect living master. So you have to find somebody in such quality of divine love to give you, the example of divine love. And when you recognize that divine love, then you can attach to that love and let go of all of your attachment in the world. For example, Supreme Master Xinghai, she was living a householder life in the beginning. And then after that, she became renunciate, right? She became a nun. But during that time, she said, she wouldn't get divorced with her husband if at that time there is a perfect living master available in Europe or nearby that she can seek help from. But because she had the idea that all the holy master, perfect saints, they all live in India. So she had to leave to find the perfect truth in India. and she didn't know how long it's gonna take, whether she's gonna succeed or not. That's why she said she has to divorce her husband, her ex-husband, because she had to leave the room for other women to come and take care of him. She said this is not fair to leave him on his own, and and she just left the family life to pursue the spiritual truth. She's already feel guilty. And after that, yes, she get initiated in India, and after that, she also become renunciate after one of her monk teacher that appoint her to fulfill the seva for that monk master. So that's why later on she put on the robe of Buddhism monk, Hindu monk, and become renunciate in her early days.
This is with regards to the master. If a spiritual practitioner is living in master's will, can I say that there is no difference whether he or she is indulging in daily life or renunciation?
The sincere spiritual practitioner that live completely in master will, they will be very detached from this world. Wherever you put them, they will be always contemplate inside and try to connect with their master and try to connect with the divine love. So they won't really take interest to become anything or build anything. So therefore, they're not going to really indulge on anything in their daily life. And also, because the practice is inside, for sincere spiritual practitioner, they will always know that, they have to connect with the divine love, which is from their master. And this is a personal connection between them and their master. And this personal connection is not for to show, how sincere they are to the world. Therefore, they're not going to really show that they live renunciate life either. They're not going to put on the road. They're not going to try to convince people that they are monk or nun either. They will be just going to be very simple person, but, in their mind and in their heart, they are with the master all the time, as if they are here, but they're not here, to go through the full effect of up and down, good or bad in life, just like us. A sincere spiritual practitioner will know how to escape all the up and down emotion of life. So therefore, whether you put them in household life or you put them in renunciation life, it's not gonna show that much, that they are indulging in any kind of life.
Right. The next question, I think you just answered, but I'm just going to ask the question anyway. For us to further develop our spirituality, would it help if we regard dealing with daily life businesses as a way to serve Master, so as to help us better detach from the world?
Yeah. So actually, when you are in service of something higher concept than yourself, you in service of God, or you in service for your master, or so-called seva for your master, it's the best way that you can practice detachment from this world. Because only if you detach from your own character, then you can detach from everything of that character, right? So if you can practice the self-detachment and put yourself in the service for Master, and that's the perfect position that you can feel, detached from everything and don't feel the full effects of up and down in life. So therefore, most of the people that put life in the seva for Master, they are very happy person without even doing anything, because they learn the art to be happy. They learn the art to be selfless. So therefore, even, enemy comes, pointing finger at them, try to hurt them, they won't feel the full effect, because they see that I live the life in the service for Master. So whatever good or bad, I forward to Master, right? And Master take care of everything. So this is how we can live in Master will.
Since a person who will be awakened to seek for truth has already been predetermined or predestined beforehand, what if we as initiates share the spiritual practice with our family members to give them more exposure to spirituality? Will they change their way of thinking?
Yes, right. So, so you said that, if one person get initiated, then the whole 7 to 9 generation get marked to be initiated, right? In that context, right? So yes, you can share the precepts, the good principle of pious living, right? Living, like doing less karma in their life. You can try to show them the good example, and if they agree, for example, if you be able to convince them to go vegan or eating vegetarian with you, is very good. If you can introduce them to have right attitude, to look at life in a bigger picture, and also try to live in God's will, yes, you can change their life. You can change their thinking. And if you be able to prepare your family member like that, and one day, if they come into direct contact with perfect living Master being, you invite them to listen to Master lecture together, and they will see, they will receive direct blessing, or they will easily open up to Master teaching at that time. So it's also, a very immense merit if you be able to convince your family member to have right attitude, to live a moral life, to embrace the pious living with you in the family.
This is in continuation to the question. Whatever you have just said is I would say, the positive outcome, right, of and the positive reception of family members when you share spiritual practices with them. But what if they reject you and they push you away from, your spiritual practice and the way you think? How does one react to such circumstances?
Right. So don't try to enter into like argument or debate mode, right? Just leave them, right? Because, anyone have to start somewhere. Even, they have to start where they dislike or disapprove whatever you do. That's okay. It's their own opinion, right? You continue to doing good as initiate, right? And you continue to follow master teaching. And if you cannot verbally tell them that this is good and convince them, then you can convince them by your own action. You can become a better person. You can try to improve yourself for they to see the obvious change. So by being a very good example, then they will think oh, if it's working for you, right, as a human being, if this higher teaching working for you, it would work for them the same. Because human are human. When we face some change, we don't like it. Nobody like change. But if in long term they see that the change has turned somebody they know to be a better person, then I believe that everybody will be willing to try to change as well. They want to improve themselves as well, just like my father and my mother. In long term, my mother had changed by following the footsteps of the saints. And then my father come round and asked me how to become vegan, how to become vegetarian, how to do basic meditation practice, and how to get initiation from a perfect living master. So, I think example or action speak louder than words.
Okay, let's wrap this up with this final question. I used to be a Buddha disciple. I did offerings to the bodhisattvas every day at home. And now, thanks to Great Master, I started to pursue the final truth. So the question is, shall I stop all my previous Buddhism activities, such as, offering to the bodhisattvas, reciting the mantras? Should I stop all that?
So, if I in this position where I have to practice cultural Buddhism way, if in your family, the whole family get together to offering food to Bodhisattva, Buddhas, you have altar at home, and you have to recite mantras and do short meditation session together every day, then don't stop them or stop yourself doing that. But you should find out what is the truth, who is Bodhisattva, who is the Buddha that you are offering to, what is their quality, and you should learn to try to become just like them, walk the footsteps of them, instead of do offering or worship them, right? Because Bodhisattva or Buddha, they were humans just like us. They are truth seekers just like you. But because in their journey they're being succeed, so they be able to raise above the human quality that we have, and they found some way of truth. That's why they've been recognized for, just like Gautama Buddha nowadays. This is 2,500 years already since he passed away, but people still remember his greatness. So yes, you should, instead of worship them, offering them food, which, they might need or not need that because their physical body is not here anymore. You may, try to consider to walk their footsteps, learn their teaching sincerely. And as in the question, the questioner said that the teaching of the master changed their life. So I believe that they know, the direct teaching of a perfect living master. So I would suggest that instead of following the past master, which is died like 2,500 years ago, you should follow nowadays master teaching that, they can feel relate to you, they understand your problem, because this time, this is the era of great distractions. We have internet, we have movie, we have news, we have access to all information, and also because of this, our mind is more busy than 2,500 years ago, where people live very simple life. We are just farmers, right? And we don't even have electricity at that time. So therefore, if I am this person, I will try to follow the teaching of today and seek help and understanding from a perfect living master of today. So I have one story I want to share with all of you. This is actually told by Supreme Master Ching Hai in one of her lectures. It was about a girl that she tried to live pious living at best in her own circumstance. In the Middle East, in the past, there were one very poor family, and this family has a lot of debt. So therefore, they had to decide to sell their daughter to a brothel house, to a prostitute house. This girl, growing up, she is really good. She has really good saintly nature, and she has been initiated with a perfect master of that day, and she regularly practiced meditation. So she's really enlightened of the perfect living master level. So, but she's very beautiful too. She has very good karma, where she looks stunning, she looks beautiful. So therefore, people easily get charmed when they see her. So the family decide to sell her away to improve the family economy, right? So the head of the prostitute house, the brothel house, they really like her because she's really stunning, beautiful. So the man, the head of the prostitute house, saying that, okay, I will dress you up and I will put you in a room for service of my guests. And the girl said that, okay, I will obey every of your command, but can you do one favor for me? And the man said, yes, what do you want? I said, can you put one altar of that I can worship God every day, that I can, like doing my rituals, like recite mantras and do little meditation every day, because it's what I'm doing at home. Then if you be able to do that, I will be very good for your customer and try to, bring you a lot of customers. So the man agreed to put the altar of worship God in her room, in one of the corner of her room. So what she's doing is that when she knows that the customer will come into her room to get the service, she would light the incense and the candle. and sit in front of her altar. And when the customer comes inside, she would ring a bell. And she said, "Oh, sir, please sit and play to God with me for a moment." Then she would invite them to recite mantra with her. And then after that, do like a short meditation session with her. And when she see that, the man who come for the service is calmer down, then she start to give Satsang or spiritual discourse to them. So when all the men came to get the service from her instead of get the sexual service, so they become enlightened with the truth, the spiritual discourse that she gave. And more, she grow a very large customer group, right? And then the head of the prostitution house, very curious of, what technique this girl used to attract a lot of customers. He would like to know in order, to tell this secret to other girls. So therefore, he make a hole in her wall in one corner and try to sit and watch what happened. So what happened on that day is the same as any other day. She would light the incense, light the candles, right? Ring the bell when the customer came in and invite them to sit down, pray to God with her, recite the mantras, and then she will eventually give them the spiritual discourse or the satsang. So upon observing through the small hole, the head of the prostitute house get enlightened in that moment. And suddenly in his heart, he feels shameful. He feels guilty. He feel for the first time, he recognized the truth of what the girl said. So therefore, he come to the girl directly and he said, "Can you please give me the knowledge of the true more? Can I learn meditation with you? Can I get initiation from you?" So after that, the man, the head of the house, also become her disciple. And he decided to close down his prostitute house and start to follow her and build her the ashram. So eventually, the girl will be able to take care of her father and mother very well by living in the ashram with her. And she have a very large group of disciples, especially men, that came for her service, during when she was in the prostitute house. So this is just to show you, if you keep good principles, you live a Dharma life, you have pious living, wherever you are, you can turn the circumstance. You can, change your fate. Just like this girl, she was very unfortunate that her parents sell her for sexual service in the prostitute house. But she clever enough, to perform this ritual, which, yes, she didn't need for because she's already enlightened. Why she need to do this? She didn't need to do that, but she do this as a means to, to talk to other people that come into her contact and then can change them, can change them from inside. And when they change from inside, they be able to raise above their sexual desire. When they awaken to the truth, they recognize the divine love inside her. So they've been also transformed into the divine love as well. Just like, somewhat that she said to other people, and the head of the prostitute house happened to listen to that, and he be able to come into contact with that divine love as well. So this divine love, if you found that is in any person that you know, you should come run and ask them to show you how they can have this divine love, how you can connect to this divine love. So, answer to all questions that I already answered. The only solution is love, and this is part of love. This is not part of intellectual or part of rituals or ceremonies or strict precepts. If you be able to show any other people in your family that you carry this divine love with you and it changed you, then other people, they will want to have this divine love the same.
That's it for today's satsang. Thank you, main speaker, for spending time with us for this satsang. If you want more information about Ista Asia, please go to www.istaasia.com. You may also subscribe to our newsletter or email us any inquiries you may have regarding spirituality. Thank you for listening.